I've done some research on Berkey water filters recently. I wanted to share what I found because I think it'll be useful to anyone who cares. It's kind of sad and frustrating, but some background. About 8 years ago, I needed to filter water from the tap in order to make fermented foods. So I need to get rid of the chlorine and or chloramine that kills the microbes that make fermented foods tasty. And I found on some mommy blogs and alternative health websites that Berkey was the way to go. There were a couple of sites that said, be careful, they don't have any NSF certifications. NSF, in partnership with some other groups, sets standards for various consumer and commercial goods, water filters being one of them. So if you get an NSF standard, it means you have met a basic benchmark for that product. For water filters, the two most common are NSF standard 53. That's for most consumer water filters that you would find in a home. There's also NSF standard 58, which covers reverse osmosis filters that you would find in homes. Berkey would fall under standard 53 for the most part. There are other standards, but they have to do more with like the taste of the water. They don't have to do with filtering out different contaminants. So, Berkey didn't have no NSF certifications. Another kind of confusing piece about this is that if a water filter gets an NSF 53 certification, they have to get one for each contaminant that it filters. You can't just get one catch-all certification that covers everything. You got to get one. If you advertise, this water filter filters, chlorine, then you have to get an NSF standard for chlorine, standard 53 certification for chlorine. Then if you say this filters, XYZ pesticide, you've got to get another certification to the standards of standard 53 saying that your filter really filters to that capacity. And on and on and on. So New Millennium Concepts, the company that owns Berkey, on their website said, that's really expensive. It's expensive to purchase all of those certifications for every contaminant and maintain it with an annual fee. So we don't do that. Instead, we have a third-party lab do it for us. Okay. They advertise their black Berkey elements as filtering to 3,000 gallons. So one element filters 3,000 gallons. Well, none of the test results that they show on their website actually tested to 3,000 gallons. I didn't find that out until later. The New York Times had a piece on the Wirecutter calling into question some of the claims of Berkey. And I don't always trust the Wirecutter. They can be pretty biased. But it caused me a little concern. So I dug in. I contacted New Millennium Concepts, the Berkey company. I also contacted the lab that did the tests for Berkey, that Berkey displays on its website. The lab, which on the title of the results says tested to standard NSF 53, wrote back and said, well, we tested all of the contaminants listed to 200 gallons, and we tested lead, this heavy metal, to 2,000 gallons. So the results you see on that test results page, that's what we tested. And I'm sitting there thinking, well, 2,000 gallons is not 3,000 gallons, and 200 gallons is very much not 3,000 gallons. Also, another thing that was kind of weird is the New York Times talked with the same lab that I emailed, and he told them he tested lead to 1,100 gallons. So I don't even know what that's about. Why is he telling me it was 2,000 and he tells the New York Times it was 1,100? Can he not read? I have no idea. So I then email Berkey and I say, what's up with this? No response. Email again. What's up with this? No response. And I'm emailing one of their executives because I'd been part of a little pilot where they were doing these new bottles, and they sent me a free bottle to give them some unbiased feedback. So I had one of their email addresses. They ignored me for 2 years. I emailed them about once a month for 2 years. They just ghosted me. And so I gave up on that, and I started emailing this past month through their normal customer service channels. And when I got to the key question, I said, you know, you advertise that you can filter to 3,000 gallons. Where are those test results? And she didn't respond, so I followed up. She said, well, we don't have those test results. We estimated the 3,000 gallon number. Oh, how did you estimate it? No response. About a week later. So about that estimation, no response. Another week later. Hey, are you going to email me back? Nothing. Another week. So how about this this estimation thing? No response. Totally ghosting me. So the 3,000 gallon life cycle of the black Berkey is made up. Doesn't exist. I think that the executives were sitting around one day and they're like, you know, we can get all this water filter stuff from China and India. We'll slap our name on it, and we'll just make up a number. What do you think will dupe everyone? How about 3,000 gallons? Yeah, we'll put NSF 53 on there. No one will follow up, and it'll look legit. That's what they did. I don't know. I can't prove it, but I'm 99.9999% sure that's what happened. To add insult to injury, the NSF standard 53 is supposed to be tested anywhere between 120% of the rated life cycle of the filter and 200%. So not only did they not test to 100%, which would have been 3,000 gallons, they did not test to the actual standard that they advertised that this third-party lab had done. A really cool YouTube channel called Project Farm tested a bunch of different water filters and found that Berkey did not do well, like at all, compared to the other filters. So I'm done with Berkey. They're a bunch of shysters, and it's a joke of a product relative to other products. Supposedly it will go to 200 gallons for most contaminants, and maybe even 1,100 gallons for lead, but that's anyone's guess. So I looked on the databases for the two groups that certify products to the NSF standard 53 and 58. That's NSF itself and a group called the Water Quality Association. They are the only two groups. There are others. There's three others. This Canadian group, a plumber group, and Underwriters Limited, or Lab. I can't remember. It's UL is the abbreviation. WQA and NSF are the only ones that really test consumer water filters. Got on their database, found filters that had at least one NSF certification. Still blows my mind that Berkey doesn't have any. 0 NSF certifications for any contaminants. It's a total joke. And there are several products that look really good. And I'm a nobody. I doubt that anyone's really going to watch this video, but for the few that do, I hope it helps you. Anyway, I say that to say I'm not getting any money off of this. I just really care about my family having clean water, and I'm a little OCD sometimes about things. So I give these names purely out of I hope this helps you. And I'm going to link to them and link to some documents where I compiled all this info. AquaSana, great company. I went with them. That's what we're going to use in our house. Another one is Culligan International. They own several brands, including Hydroviv, APEC, and Zero Water. I didn't really look into most of the under sink filters because we're living in someone else's house right now. So I needed a more portable option, and AquaSana had a countertop unit that was good. I'm also looking for filter. Oh, and Watts. Watts is another company that had a good one. And I'm going to link to each of these. For portability, like when we travel, I wanted a pour-through filter, and I narrowed that down to Zero Water or a company called Clearly Filtered. One thing to note about the portable options, they got a lot of plastic. Don't let them be exposed to sunlight or heat. You also don't want them to be exposed to alcohol or acidic solutions, but why would anyone do that with a water filter? I could see myself accidentally leaving it in a windowsill or outside on a picnic or something. Don't do that. Don't let it get exposed to UV rays from the sun, and don't let it get hot. Just wash it with like cool or tepid water and a mild soap. What else is important to relate? Oh, so lastly, PFAS chemicals have been in the news. They come from Teflon, non-stick pans, Scotchgard, stuff like that. And they're horrible, terrible for us, and they never really go away. They just stay in the environment. So you don't want those in your drinking water, but sadly most of us do. Most of us actually have it in our blood systems right now, all over the globe, the research shows. And the NSF doesn't have a standard for a kind of PFAS called short chain. There's long chain and short chain. Short chain PFAS are harder to filter than long chain. They don't have a standard for short chain yet. They will, but they don't. So the best filters for short chain had to be analyzed with a third-party group. And there's a team of researchers at a university in North Carolina that did that. And they found that the AquaSana reverse osmosis under sink, there was an APEC model and a Watts that did really well with the short chain PFAS. Also, it filtered the PFAS down to 1 part per trillion, which is what the EWG and some other scientists say really should be the limit. The official limit is 70 parts per trillion, which is a lot more than 1 part per trillion. So the NSF has not really caught up to that yet. So don't trust the NSF on the PFAS. Trust the third-party groups on the PFAS for now. And I'm going to put all that in the description of this video, and I'm linking to a document that's got all this. I hope this helps. Thanks.